So the number one vital element needed for life is oxygen. And that's not a surprise, is it? The second most vital element needed for life is water. You can go 3 minutes without oxygen. You can go a couple of weeks without water. I always thought it was 3 days without water until I read a book called The Long Walk about some people who were escaping the Siberian work camp, and they were in the desert and they went nearly 2 weeks without water.
Drinking water is considered the go-to solution for staying hydrated. People just drink water and think they're doing enough to keep their bodies in balance. But what if I told you that drinking plain water might not be the most effective way to stay hydrated? The truth is, hydrating the body isn't just about how much water you drink. It's also about how well your body absorbs and holds on to that water. So how do you hydrate the body the right way? What is the proper way of maintaining real, lasting hydration? Stay tuned as we break it all down and show you what really works. Before we begin, take a moment to comment below and let us know where you're watching from. Also, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Let's jump into it.
I always say to people, how much water do you drink? And these are some of the answers. I don't like water. If I drink water, my feet swell. If I drink water, I'm going to the bathroom all day. Those last two answers tell me that the water's not getting inside the cell. So how do we get the water inside the cell? We have to go to the third most vital element needed for life, and that is sodium. The fourth most vital element needed for life is potassium. So let's go back to sodium. In nature, we find the highest amount of sodium in seawater. And seawater contains 92 minerals. Of those 92 minerals, 30%, approximately 30% is sodium. And of those 92 minerals, approximately 50% is chloride. Now, because sodium chloride take up the most amount, they're the first crystals formed when the water is evaporated. So what man does is he scoops up the first crystals formed, he bleaches them white, puts aluminium with it so that it runs freely, and there's your table salt. Table salt is a dangerous salt because we now have two very harsh minerals that if you were to inject both of those into the blood, you would die. There's two harsh minerals and they need all the other 90 to soften them and balance them. The highest concentration of mineral inside the cell is potassium. The highest concentration outside the cell is sodium. And in this bilayered membrane that is around every cell, there are sodium-potassium pumps. And these sodium-potassium pumps are ever going like this, maintaining the balance between potassium and sodium. But when someone's not eating enough fruits and vegetables, and that's where you get most of your potassium, and they're putting table salt on everything far too much, what happens now is sodium levels rise and potassium levels drop. There is a small amount of sodium in the cell, but when this happens, you see osmosis and diffusion happens when the highest concentration merges into the lowest. So now sodium levels inside the cell are rising, which they should not, and the cell swells. What's that called? High blood pressure. The doctor is right. Table salt will contribute to high blood pressure. There's a French doctor named Dr. Lelangre, and he's written a whole book on salt. He said, when people come to me with high blood pressure, I put them on Celtic salt. Why does he put them on Celtic salt? Because Celtic salt contains 82 minerals. It's a hand-harvested sea salt. So the minerals are in the Celtic salt in their balanced form. What about Himalayan salt? In many places, Himalayan salt is a lot easy to get. There's about 75 minerals. So it's pretty good. But I prefer the Celtic salt. And one reason is that the Celtic salt has 3 magnesiums. It contains magnesium chloride and magnesium bromide and magnesium sulfate. Magnesium is a water-hungry molecule, and this explains why the Celtic salt is such a moist salt, especially when we've had a lot of rain, because those 3 magnesiums absorb the moisture. And because magnesium is a water-hungry molecule, it can be used to help the water get into the cell. So when you take a crystal of Celtic salt, put it on your tongue, and some say, how big's a crystal? Well, if you've got high blood pressure, start small, about the size of a sesame seed. I don't have high blood pressure, so I might have about 3 times little sesame seeds.
Taking Celtic salt with water can help the body stay hydrated more effectively than drinking plain water alone. That's because hydration isn't just about how much water you drink, it's also about how well your body retains that water. Celtic salt contains a mix of natural minerals and trace elements like magnesium, potassium and calcium, which help your body absorb and use water more efficiently. When you drink plain water, especially in large amounts, it can sometimes pass through your system too quickly. This can flush out essential minerals and actually lead to dehydration at a cellular level. But when you add a small pinch of Celtic salt to your water, it helps your body hold on to the fluid. The minerals in the salt support the balance of electrolytes, which are key for moving water into your cells and keeping your fluid levels steady. Celtic salt also supports adrenal function and helps maintain proper blood pressure, both of which play a role in how your body manages hydration. This is especially helpful for people who are active, sweat a lot, or live in hot climates. You don't need much, just a pinch of Celtic salt in a glass of water, preferably first thing in the morning. This can give your body the minerals it needs to stay balanced and properly hydrated throughout the day. It's a simple and natural way to improve hydration without relying on sugary sports drinks or expensive supplements.
The only time excess water drinking can be dangerous is if people drink too much at once and don't have the minerals that are in the Celtic salt to pull that water inside the cell. I've had people complain to me, they say, I'm drinking more water now and now I'm going to the bathroom all day. So I say, are you having the salt? Have a little crystal before every glass of water. And ideally we should be having approximately 8 glasses of water a day. And then I say to them, and don't drink a whole glass at once. I think I mentioned earlier, I drink half a glass as soon as I get up. I go to the bathroom, I drink another half glass. Then I get dressed and have another half glass. But when I start every glass, I have that little bit of salt. So you spread the water over the day. And many people have said to me, thank you so much, that has made a big difference. See, huge water in, it's not long before huge water has to come out. It's like watering a plant. And look how God sends the rain, little by little by little. And when there's a tornado, when there's a torrential downpour, that's when the soil gets washed away and flooding can happen. So remember that with your body. Take it little by little by little by little. It is the best way to take it. Lining our gastrointestinal tract are villi. And on the villi is a receptor site. And that receptor site is to take the glucose through and into the blood. So on this villi, we've got a blood capillaries that go all the way through. Now in that receptor site is a carrier. And this carrier is designed to take the glucose through to the blood. But the carrier will not accept the glucose unless it comes with a molecule of sodium. I read this in my anatomy and physiology book. In the anatomy and physiology book, I memorized the sentence so I could give it to you from the horse's mouth. Sodium is the main transport system of glucose across the brush border wall and into the blood. And yet what are we told? Don't eat salt. Well, I agree with the table salt because it causes this imbalance of minerals in and out of the cell, absolutely. And did you know that sodium chloride is so strong it can kill the taste buds? Have you seen people that eat table salt? They put it on everything and they put it on before they've even tasted it. Well, no wonder their taste buds are dying. Whereas Celtic salt, with all of its minerals, it enhances the flavour of the food. Now, the red lentils we had this morning, a few people have said, "What's in this?" I've even served it at my house at breakfast and people have said, "Is there chicken in this?" And I know why they say that. It's because it's so flavoursome. Well, it has a little olive oil, some herbs, nice if you can get fresh or Italian herbs, and some Celtic salt and a bit of turmeric. That's it. I rinse it very well. It must be rinsed well first. And I do that just before it's fully cooked. And yet, as you can see, it's delicious. See, I'm not interested in cooking up onions and garlic, and much as I love that in my lentils, I'll do that at lunchtime. But in the morning, I've got hills to run up and down, creeks to jump in. I'm not interested in being in the kitchen for a long time, and that's a very quick dish to make. So sodium not only is required to get the glucose into the blood, it's also required to get the water into the cell. So it's sodium. It's the third most vital element needed for life. And you can get that information on the 4 vitals in any anatomy and physiology book, chemistry book, biology book. I'm just giving you the facts here. So as you can see, water is very important.
That's why it's not just about how much water you drink, it's about how well your body can use that water. If the water doesn't get into the cells, it's not doing its job. It'll just pass through you and you'll end up running to the bathroom all day, still feeling thirsty and possibly even dehydrated at the cellular level. Another thing to consider is that thirst isn't always reliable. Some people say, "I'm not thirsty, so I don't need water." But by the time you feel thirsty, your body may already be slightly dehydrated. That's why sipping water steadily throughout the day, paired with a little natural salt, is so important. Also, if you're sweating a lot, whether from exercise, heat, or even stress, you're losing not just water but minerals too. That's where Celtic salt becomes even more useful. It helps replace what's lost and supports the body's ability to absorb and use water effectively. People often ask me if they can use Himalayan salt instead. It's better than table salt, sure, but Celtic salt tends to have a broader mineral profile and is less processed. If you can get your hands on Celtic salt, that's the one I recommend. And remember, every cell in your body depends on proper hydration, from brain function to digestion, joint health to skin elasticity. It all comes back to water and minerals working together. Don't wait until you're exhausted or getting headaches. Start your day with water and a pinch of salt and keep going from there.
So not only are people not drinking enough water, but they are also causing dehydration because of the drinks that they are having. Again, we need to drink little by little by little. Much depends on your activity through the day. If you're working out in the garden and perspiring a lot, if you're having steam baths a lot, then definitely you need to drink more water. One of the signs that you're drinking adequate water is that your urine is clear. So when your urine is clear, that's a fairly good sign that you're drinking enough water. Now at the moment here at the retreat, you're having B vitamins, and those B vitamins have an effect on your body to cause your urine to be fluorescent yellow. So don't be surprised if this week your urine is fluorescent yellow. So you just got to find out how to get it in. And many people in aged care facilities, elderly people, they do not drink enough water. And it certainly is a contributing factor to the mental illness and the deterioration in brains we're seeing. In Australia, there are 1,700 cases of Alzheimer's being diagnosed every week. Now, that's a bit scary. Did you know that God never meant our brain to deteriorate? And tomorrow, we're going to go to the brain, and tomorrow I'm going to show you how you can get brighter and smarter and wiser with age. Brains should not be deteriorating. Have you read of Alzheimer's or dementia in the Bible? I certainly haven't. And before the flood, you know, people were living till they were 700 and 800 years old. We're getting people today who are showing signs of dementia and Alzheimer's in their 40s and in their 50s, and this should not be. And it's often not just one point, often it's several points, but one is certainly dehydration. So I'll give you a story to illustrate. We had a lady came and did our program a few years ago now, it's probably about 6 years ago now. She was 45 and she brought her mother who had dementia. So we always say if someone has Alzheimer's or dementia, they will need to have a carer with them. Because we're not a hospital, we just teach you how to give your body the conditions for healing. When the mother first arrived, so the mother was probably early 70s, I went into the bedroom and she was just standing there looking out the window. And she looked at me, she didn't seem to even know who I was or acknowledge me. So I talked to the mother, and, well, I couldn't say much to the mother, but I talked to the daughter and I found out she hadn't drunk any water for 2 days. And because she had dementia, her daughter would ask her and she'd say, oh yes, I've drunk lots of water, but she actually wasn't drinking any. And she hadn't been to the bathroom for 3 days. I'm talking about her bowels. So they're two things that we can fix pretty good. So we gave her herbs to get the bowels moving, and we just got her to drink little bits of water. See, a lot of elderly people are put off water because they don't want to have an accident. But if you can explain to them, just have a mouthful at a time.
And within just a few days, we started to see changes. Her bowels began moving regularly and her alertness noticeably improved. She began responding when spoken to, started making eye contact, and even joined in some group activities. It wasn't a complete turnaround overnight, but the improvement was clear. All of this simply began with rehydrating her body and getting her digestive system working again. This shows how something as basic as drinking enough water can have a major impact on both physical and mental health. Dehydration doesn't just affect the body, it clouds thinking, slows reaction time, and can make people appear confused or withdrawn. In elderly people especially, these symptoms are often mistaken for signs of aging or dementia, when in fact they might just be dehydrated. It's also important to understand that the sensation of thirst weakens with age. Older people might not feel thirsty even when their body needs water. That's why encouraging regular sipping, just a mouthful at a time, can make all the difference. It avoids overwhelming them or causing fear of accidents, and it's easy to manage throughout the day. One of the simplest ways to check hydration is to look at the color of the urine. It should be pale yellow or clear. Dark urine or going to the bathroom only a couple of times a day are signs that the body needs more fluids. Of course, if someone is taking B vitamins, their urine might appear bright yellow, but that's due to the vitamins, not dehydration. We often forget how much water the body uses during normal activity, breathing, digestion, regulating temperature. Add heat, physical movement, or even talking for long periods, and the need for water increases. You don't have to drink large amounts at once. Just small regular sips can meet the body's needs over time. So whether you're young or old, staying properly hydrated supports better energy, clearer thinking, and healthier bodily functions. It's a simple step, but often the most overlooked. If you found this helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need to hear this. Don't forget to subscribe for more practical health tips that actually make a difference. Thanks for watching, and take care of yourself, one sip at a time.